Okay, so we're now on integration by parts. Integration by parts is a technique, so which among the different techniques, this is obvious. So usually, if we are given an integrand, and then the integrand are product, or is a product of two functions, then most of the time, so we can use the integration by parts. So when we say integration by parts, so this one was derived, so using the product rule. So remember in product rule, so if we have y is equals to uv, and then we want to find the derivative of this, so with respect to x, so that would just be dy over dx would be equal to u dv and plus v du. So u dv plus v du. So now, if we're going to rearrange this one, so in such a way that I'll be taking the u dv to the left-hand side, so that would give us the derivative, okay, so of uv, so with respect to x, so that would be minus v du. Okay, so in here, so the integral of the derivative of u and v with respect to x is actually simply uv. So in short, the formula, okay, so in finding the integral of u dv, okay, so there are two functions here for the integrand. One is designated as u, and then the other one will be designated as the dv. And once we have that one, so the formula would just be uv then minus the integral of v du. So we need to designate, so which is u, and then which is v, and then afterwards, so we substitute that one to our formula, then we find what is du and what is v, and using this formula, so we need to integrate still the v du, and then that would give us the final solution, okay, so for the given integrand. So ayan, how do we choose u and dv? So how do we use u and dv? So we choose u and dv. So there's a governing mnemonics that we can use, the liate approach. Okay, so when we say liate, okay, so L corresponds to logarithmic functions, I corresponds to inverse, A corresponds to algebraic, T corresponds to trigonometric, and then E corresponds to exponential functions. So in the given integrand, so whichever comes first, okay, so will be designated as u. Okay? So ibig sabihin, if we have logarithmic functions in the given integrand, u would be logarithmic. Okay, so u will be logarithmic as compared to the inverse, algebraic, trigonometric, or exponential. So what do I mean with that one? So let's say, for example, if I have, let's say, the integral of ln x dx. So there are the functions that are involved here. We have the ln x, so which is one function. So the other one would just be the dx. So since this is logarithmic, so this is logarithmic, so which is L. So una yung logarithmic. So therefore, our u then would be the ln x. And then the other part, so the dv will become our dx. So let's say we have the integral of x squared sine 2x. So x is algebraic, x squared, the sine 2x, that is trigonometric. Okay, so algebraic, sine 2x is trigonometric. And according to liate, so anong mauna? So mauna ang A as compared to trigo. So ibig sabihin nun, ang u natin will be the algebraic, and then ang dv natin is yung sine 2x dx. Okay, so that's how the liate means. So kung ano yung mauna, okay, so yun yung magiging u natin. Okay? Question with that.
None naman po, sir.
Okay, good. So let's proceed with the other method. So during your senior high, na-cover niyo to? Nakarating kayo dito sa part na to?
Hindi po, sir.
Hindi ba? Okay. So yung integration by parts kasi, parang that's the long method. So using this formula. However, there is another approach, okay? But it was derived. It's still from the principle of integration by parts. It's just we're just going to use some table. So in this case, the middle row or the middle column so will serve as our U, and then the last column will serve as our DV. So ngayon, it's the same approach. So we still use the liate method. So U, okay? So depende kung ano yung na-designate natin as U, and then whichever will become our DV. And then the tabular method, so we derive U until it becomes 0. Okay? So that's why usually this tabular method, although applicable siya with so many types of integrand, pero it will be most useful if U is algebraic. Okay, so if U is algebraic, so we use the tabular method. Okay, so if U is algebraic, so we use tabular method. Other than that, gamitin mo na lang yung unang approach, yung UV minus VDU. Okay? So baka mas malito ka sa table na to. So bakit? Kasi sa tabular method, ang Q mo kasi dito na mag-stop ka. So once the derivative is already 0. And it's only the algebraic function that will yield to 0. Okay? Actually, may mga algebraic functions pa na sometimes hindi siya leading to 0 after multiple derivatives. Diba? Pero yung sa dv naman natin, no, kung dito nagdi-derive tayo sa u, ang dv nag-integrate tayo multiple times. So kailan tayo mag-stop? Yung mag-stop tayo kapag pumantay na tayo dun sa 0. Okay? And then afterwards, so ang sign natin dito alternate lang. So start tayo lagi sa positive, positive, negative, positive, negative, positive. So basta na-fill out mo itong table na to, so you can write already the answer. So ano yung answer nito? So yan, naka-arrow naman siya. So we'll start with this. Positive x cubed. So that would be x cubed times negative cosine x. So x cubed negative cosine x. Tapos na susunod. Negative. This is negative. Kaya negative yun. So magiging positive. So 3x squared sine x. Tapos positive 6x times cosine x. 6x cosine x. Lastly, we'll have negative 6 sine x. So ito na yung answer na. So base doon sa table na na-form. So na-form yan kasi derivative ng x cubed, it's 3x squared. Derivative ng 3x squared, it's 6x. Derivative ng 6x, it's 6. Derivative ng 6, it's 0. So naman, nag-integrate naman tayo. Integral of sine, it's negative cosine. Integral ng negative cosine, it's negative sine. Integral ng negative sine, it's positive cosine. Integral ng cosine, it's positive sine. Okay, so that's how we use the algebraic or the tabular method. So let's have our first example. So we use the integration by parts approach. No? So which is the integral of u dv is equals to uv minus the integral of v du. So integral of u dv is equals to uv minus the integral of v du. So ayan, so we designate u and v. So x is algebraic, dx is exponential. So which will be our u? X from liate. So which is our U?
X po.
X. Hindi yata naka-host yung ano. This one is the host. Okay. So, U will be X, tama? And then dV will be matitira, which is EX dx. So we derive then X, so that is dx. And then we integrate. So si dV, so para makuha ang V, we integrate. So ano yung integral ng EX dx? Still EX. Okay. So it's still EX. So therefore, we use this formula then. So U dV, that would be U. U natin it's X. V is e raised to X. And minus integral of V, so which is e raised to X. Then ang du natin, that is dx. So X e raised to X minus e raised to X dx. And then we integrate. So X dx, copy that one. Then the integral of EX dx, it's still EX. So plus C. So this would be the final answer then. So X EX, wala na pong integral, wala nang plus C. Kahit wala na. Okay? So basta ang plus C dun sa final answer natin. Okay? So kahit wag na muna natin isulat. So if you want to use tabular method, that would still be okay. Okay. Kahit mag-tabular method ka, ganun din. So how do we use the tabular method? So we just have X here. So ang U natin, it's X. And then ang DU natin, it's EX. So we don't write the DX anymore. Pero if you want, pwede naman. Then on the tabular method, so we derive, we start with X. So we derive X, so the derivative of X, that is 1. Derivative of 1, it is 0. Right? So nagdi-derive tayo dyan. Ha? So derivative of X, it's 1. Derivative of 1, it's 0. So naman, integral of EX, that is, it's still EX. Integral ng EX, it is EX. And then we write the sign alternately. Paano sagot niya? So that will be, so positive X, EX, so X, EX. And so negative 1 times EX, negative e raised to X plus C. So which is the same. Right? So tabular method and the integration by parts method. So we're okay with this? So we'll proceed with example number 2. So let's say we have X, ln X. So again, X is algebraic, ln X it is logarithmic. So which will be our U? Sir, may times po ba na di applicable yung tabular method? Actually, lagi naman siya applicable, pero I advise na gagamitin mo lang siya kapag ang U mo, it's algebraic. Other than that, I would suggest na gamitin mo yung original or the integration by parts method. So basta ang U mo, it's algebraic. Kasi ito, alam mo kung kailan ka mag-start or mag-stop kapag nag-zero na yung dulo. Yung iba kasi, for example, EX yung U mo, Walang katapusan yan. EX, 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 EX. Okay? So kaya kapag ganun yan, so usually mas maganda, dun na lang sa original method natin. Okay? For example, with this one. So which one will be our U?
Logarithmic po, sir.
Logarithmic. Okay. So nauna yun. So this should be ln x. Tapos ang dv natin, at since ln x ito, yung matitira, yun yung dv, which is x dx. So ngayon, sir, pwede ba yung tabular method dito? So, pwede naman, as I've said, pero this is not advisable anymore. So kasi nga, ang u natin, it's not algebraic, it's logarithmic. Okay? Kung gusto mo, pwede rin. Gawin mo. And I don't advise to do it. Malilito ka lang. Okay? So, du niyan. So, derivative ng ln x, ln u, du over u. That is dx over x. So, ito naman, we integrate. So, integral nito will be x squared all over 2. Integral of x dx, x squared all over 2. So, ayan, that will be uv minus integral of d du. So u is our u ln x. V, x squared all over 2. Usually, nauna yung algebraic sa exponential pag sinusulat. So x squared all over 2 ln x. And minus the integral of v, so which is x squared all over 2. And then ang du natin, it's dx over x. So ayan, before we integrate that, so we multiply muna, no? So ilabas ko na yung 1/2 and the integral of x squared all over x, that is x and dx, minus 1/2 x dx. And then finally, so we can now integrate this one. So x squared all over 2 ln x minus, so integral ng x, that is x squared all over 2. Let's see. X squared all over 2 ln x minus 1/4 x squared. Let's see.
Sir, question po.
Yes?
Yung sa UV, sir, minus integral of v derivative in respect to derivative of u. Sir, bakit po sa part ng UV, yung first term po, bakit x squared over 2? Hindi po ba dapat x ln x man yung unang term?
Sorry. Yung sa this part?
Yung sa first term, sir.
First term, yeah.
Yung x
UV.
squared over 2 ln x.
Yeah.
Hindi po ba siya x ln x muna?
Hindi siya
X ln x.
ay hindi. Kasi ano siya, ang formula natin ito, di ba? UV.
Yes po.
Ang U natin is ln x. Ang V natin is x squared all over 2. So kaya x squared all over 2 ln x.
Sir, yung v po natin x squared over 2 tsaka hindi po x.
Ang U kasi natin it's ln x. Ang V natin it's x squared all over 2. Yun yung na-integrate natin. Hindi yung dv. Kasi itong x dx na to, that is dv. Ang formula natin it's uv.
Derivative of v po yung x dx?
Yeah, yung x dx that is dv. Kasi di ba ang formula natin ganito? u dv is equals to uv minus the integral of v du. So,
Okay po.
we designate itong ln x natin as our u. Tapos itong x dx will be designated as the dv. Kumbaga, ang u natin is ln x, ang dv natin is x dx.
Yes po, sir.
Okay?
Na-confuse po kanina ko bakit parang derivative po agad yung x dx. Pero thank you po. Okay na
Hindi.
po, sir.
Okay. So, kailangan mo muna siyang integrate. So, tapos, pag na-integrate mo, yun na yung magiging v mo nun. And then, yun yung isusupply mo dito.
Yes po. Yes po. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Okay, sure. Sir, saan po nanggaling yung 1/2? Nakapag-check na po bang attendance? Hindi man ako mag-check ng attendance. Okay? So since supposedly ang synchronous natin is on Friday. So saan po nanggaling yung 1/2? Anong, this one? Ito. Ito kasi multiply mo to. This one would be x squared dx, di ba? So sa baba, multiply mo, that would be 2x. So ngayon, x squared and x, matitira is x dx all over 2. So kaya ang ginawa, so integral yan, ilabas ko yung 1/2. 1 over 2. So matitira would be the integral of x dx. Okay. Other questions? So we're good with this one? So we'll proceed with the third. So let's say it's arc sine 3x dx. Arc sine, that is, this one is inverse triangle, di ba? How about this? So wala nakasama yung arc sine. So it's just arc sine 3x. So dx will be algebraic. Okay. So ngayon, so which will be our u and which will be our dv? So u is
Arc sine po.
arc sine. So arc sine 3x. So it follows that ang dv natin would just be the dx. So wala kang choice. Kasi di mo pwedeng gawing u ang dx. Otherwise, pag dinerive mo yan, magiging second derivative. Okay? So kaya lagi siyang, yun yung magiging dv mo. So pag in-integrate mo siya, that is just x. Okay? So u dv. So once we derive that, so anong derivative ng arc sine 3x? So remember the formula? So what's the derivative of arc sine x? Dx over the square root of 1 minus x squared. So we derive the angle muna. So anong derivative ng 3x? It's 3 dx. Then we divide it with the square root of 1 minus x squared. 1 minus, ang pinaka-x natin, it's 3x. I'll have 3x squared. Okay, so that's the derivative of arc sine 3x. 3 dx all over the square root of 1 minus 3x squared. That will be 3 dx, the square root of 1 minus 9x squared. So that is our du then. So 3 dx over the square root of 1 minus 9x squared. Tapos, ang v natin, so we integrate dx, that is just simply x. So we follow the formula, that is uv minus the integral of v du. So, ang u natin, this is the u. Ang v natin is this one. So u is arc sine 3x, ang v natin it's x. So therefore, baliktarin ko lang, no? So x arc sine of 3x. That is our uv. Minus v du. So ang v natin is x. And then ang du natin, so ito yung du. 3 dx all over the square root of 1 minus 9x squared. So rearrange ko lang siya. So x arc sine of 3x. So minus, so labas natin yung 3. Then the integral of x dx over the square root of 1 minus 9x squared. So nilabas ko lang yung constant. No? So x dx. So how do we integrate yung x dx over the square root of 1 minus 9x squared? So what formula is applicable to this one? Yeah. Arc sine. So tingnan natin kung pwede bang arc sine dito. So kung arc sine yan, ang u squared mo is the, or baliktarin natin. No? Tumahanap lang yung constant. So we need to identify which is a squared. Di ba? So which is 1. Ang u squared natin should be 9x squared. Tapos ang a natin, square root of 1 would still be 1. Then u, square root ng 9x squared, that will be 3x. Kaya lang, pag dinerive natin ito, du, so that's a derivative of 3x. It's 3 dx. 3 dx. But the problem here, this is x dx. So sobra tayo ng variable. So hindi pwede ang inverse trigo dito. So what else can we use? Hindi pwede ang inverse trigo. So since ang derivative ng 3x, it's only 3 dx. But what we have there is x dx. Okay? So hindi natin pwedeng neutralize yung sobrang x. So what is the next
Substitution
approach?
po.
Okay, so we can use substitution. Anong u natin?
1 minus 9x squared, sir.
Okay, very good. So we can let siguro u to be 1 minus 9x squared. Our du then will be negative 18 x dx. So ayan, may x dx tayo doon. So most probably this would become negative du all over 18 is equals to x dx. Kapag nag-substitute tayo, so x arc sine of 3x minus 3, the integral of, ano yung x dx natin? Ito, di ba? So negative du over 18. And divide it with the square root of u. So which is x arc sine of 3x. So negative 3 times negative 1 over 18. So positive 1 over 6. Diba? And the integral of negative 3 times negative 1 over 18 is positive 1 over 6. And then du over the square root of u. Kaya lang, so since nasa baba yung square root of u, taas ko na lang siya. U raised to negative 1/2 du. Did you get that one? So yung square root of u, tatas natin siya para maging positive, para ma-integrate natin siya using power formula. So it will become u raised to negative 1/2 du. So ngayon, power rule na lang yun. So x arc sine of 3x and plus 1 all over 6. So u raised to negative 1/2. So power rule, that would be u raised to negative 1/2 plus 1 is 1/2 all over 1/2 plus c. So that will then be x arc sine of 3x plus, so yung 1/2, reciprocal niya would be 2. So 2 times 1 over 6, that is 2 over 6, or that is 1/3. Or 6 times 1/2, that is 3. Kaya magiging 1/3 siya. And then u raised to 1/2. U raised to 1/2 plus c. Tapos babalik lang natin siya. So x arc sine of 3x plus 1/3. Ang u natin, it's 1 minus 9x squared raised to 1/2 plus c. So that's how we answer that one. Questions?
None naman po, sir, for now.
Okay. Number 4. What method is the most applicable to this one? You are to answer this. X squared e raised to 3x. Yung kanina, di ba? So this is algebraic, this is exponential. Pero pinakamadali, what approach should we use? The tabular. Okay, so tabular kasi algebraic yung u natin. So ang u natin will be x squared. Ang du natin is e raised to 3x. So what we're going to do with the u, so we derive it multiple times. So x squared, derivative of x squared, 2x. Derivative of 2x, it's 2. Derivative of 2, it is 0. So we stop. Integral ng e raised to 3x, it's still eu. So e raised to 3x, kaya lang, derivative ng 3x, it's 3 dx. So may neutralizing factor tayo na 1/3. We add there 1/3 e raised to 3x. So the next one is, it's still e raised to 3x. Meron pa rin tayong 1/3. And then ang e raised to 3x, meron pa rin siyang neutralizing factor na 1/3. So 1/3 times 1/3, that would be 1 all over 9. Lastly, so it's still e raised to 3x, neutralizing factor of 1/3, 1/3 times 1 over 9, that is 1 all over 27. And then, so we multiply. This is plus, minus, plus. So we write the final answer. Ang madali ito, no? So positive x squared and 1/3 e raised to 3x. So sunod. So negative 2 times 1 over 9. So 2 over 9. And x e raised to 3x. And lastly, so plus 2 all over 27 e raised to 3x plus c. 1/3 x squared e raised to 3x minus 2 over 9x e raised to 3x plus 2 over 27 e raised to 3x plus c. We're going to do it using the long method or using the other approach. It's still okay. Kaya lang, maraming sinusulat. Okay? Nag-double ito. So next. Okay, so in this case, there are two, no? Kaya lang, both are algebraic. This is algebraic. This is algebraic. So it's a product. Product of x and the square root of x plus 3. So in short, this one is a trial and error. No? So which one would be easier to do? So let's try to see. I'm not sure, no? So which one am I going to use? So either. So kung hindi na siya nag-work, edi try natin yung another one. I'm assuming that my u is yung mas, usually kasi yung mas madaling integrate, yun yung ilagay mo sa dv. So integrate natin yung, although integrable naman yung square root of x plus 3, no? But then mas mahaba siya. Pero let me try to have this one as our u, yung square root of x plus 3. And our dv will be x squared dx. Or sorry, x dx. So ang du natin yan. So rewriting our u, so which is x plus 3 raised to 1/2. Kapag dinerive natin siya, that would be 1/2 x plus 3 raised to negative 1/2. And derivative ng x plus 3, that is dx. Tingnan lang natin if this is applicable. If it's not, baliktarin mo lang siya. So ang b natin yan, so this will be integral ng x dx, that will be x squared all over 2. So again, so we follow the formula. So uv minus integral of b du. So ang u natin is this. Ang b natin is this one. I'll have x squared all over 2, the square root of x plus 3. And minus integral of b du. So ang v natin, it's x squared all over 2. This is b, no? Ang du natin is ito. Multiply it with 1/2. And then x plus 3 raised to negative 1/2 dx. But what do you think happens? So x squared all over 2, the square root of x plus 3 minus integral of x squared x plus 3 raised to negative 1/2 all over 2 times 2, which is 4 dx. And what happens to the square root? Or what happens to the integral? So parang naging komplikado siya, mas naging komplikado siya, no? Kasi from x, di naman nawala yung square root, naging increase pa siya. Okay, so from x, naging pa siyang x squared. So in those cases, so what are we going to do? Shall we continue? Pag nag-continue ka dito, nagiging komplikado yung pag-integrate mo. No? Pero kung baliktarin natin siya, so let's say ang u natin will be dx. Tapos ang dv natin will be yung x plus 3 raised to 1/2 dx. So pag dinerive ko to, so it will just be dx. Tapos pag in-integrate ko naman to, so this one is just a power formula. Diba? Kasi derivative ng x plus 3, it's dx. So therefore, that would just be x plus 3 raised to 1/2 plus 1, that is 3 all over 2, all over 3 all over 2. For v, then it's 2/3 x plus 3 raised to 3 all over 2. So doing that, kung ipa-follow natin yung formula, so uv, which is x, and ang v natin, it's 2/3 x plus 3 raised to 3 all over 2. So u natin, it's x. Okay, so this is our u. And then ang v natin is this one, 2/3 x plus 3 raised to 3 over 2. Then minus v du. So v natin, it's 2/3 x plus 3 raised to 3 all over 2. And then du natin, it's dx. As you can see here, so mas madaling integrate ito, no? So 2/3 x plus 3 raised to 3 all over 2. So labas natin yung 2/3. So the integral of x plus 3 raised to 3 all over 2 dx. So what can you see? So this one over this. So yung isa kanina, nung nag-integrate ako, mas naging komplikado ba yung lumabas na integrand dito as compared to the original? Pero, on the other hand, in another approach, yung pinagbiligtad ko yung UNDV, mas naging less complicated. And at the same time, it's already integrable right away. Okay, so using power rule. So ngayon, so that will be 2/3 x times x plus 3, 3 all over 2 minus 2/3, and multiply it with so x plus 3. So 3 all over 2, that would be 5 all over 2 all over 5 over 2 plus c. So 2/3 x plus 3 raised to 3 all over 2 minus, so that one will become, baliktarin mo, 2 over 5. So 2 times 2 is 4, 3 times 5 is 15. So 4 over 15, and then x plus 3 raised to 5 all over 2 plus c. And that's it. So 2/3 x times x plus 3 raised to 3 over 2 minus 4 over 15, x plus 3 raised to 5 over 2 plus c. So yun sinasabi kong trial and error. Okay? Kasi pag ganito siya, so huwag mo na siyang ipilit. Okay? Pag mahirap na siyang integrate, so baka kailangan mo siya palang baligtarin. So for you to get the correct answer. So this is incorrect. So this is the correct approach. Okay? Question?
None
Yeah?
naman po, sir.
Okay, so kung wala, so let's have our last example. Ito, tatlo siya. Sir, tatlo. X sin x cosine x dx. Meron kang x, meron kang sin x, meron kang cosine x. It's a product of 3. Pero can we make this one as a product of 2 functions? Instead of 3 functions? Pwede ba?
Yes po, sir.
Yeah. Gagamit tayo ng
Sin 2x.
yung sin 2x. So remember, sin 2x, that is the same as 2 sine x cosine x. Tama? So we divide both sides by 2. Cancel yun. Therefore, what is sine x cosine x? That's the same as x sine 2x all over 2 dx. Okay? So itong sine x cosine x, ginawa natin siyang ganito. Sine 2x over 2. And then we multiplied it by x. So ang gagawin ko niyan, so para hindi ako nalilito dun sa numero na yon, ilabas ko yung 1/2. And the integral of x sine 2x dx. So ngayon, so since this is algebraic, this is trigo, liate. Okay, so can I use tabular method here? Can I use tabular method? Pwede, di ba? Kasi yung u natin is x. The derivative of x, it's 1. Derivative of 1 is 0. So what's the integral of sine? Negative cosine 2x. Kaya lang meron tayong 2x. So therefore, ang integrating factor or ang neutralizing factor niya is 1/2. Tapos, what's the integral of cosine? It's positive sine 2x. So neutralizing factor nito, it's 1/2. 1/2 times negative 1/2, negative 1/4. Okay? So integral ng sine 2x, it's cosine 2x. Kaya lang, because of the 2x, we have a neutralizing factor of 1/2. But then, the integral of cosine, it's positive sine 2x with the neutralizing factor of 1/2. So multiply mo pa siya dito sa negative 1/2 na nandito. So magiging siya negative 1/4. So from there, ito na lang siya nun. Positive, negative. Our answer then, so 1/2. So since naka-multiply yan dun sa buo, do not forget. Kasi didistribute natin yan later on. Positive x times negative 1/2, I'll have negative 1/2 x cosine 2x. So negative 1/2 x cosine 2x. Then lastly, negative 1 times negative 1/4, positive 1/4 sine 2x. And then 1/2 times negative 1/2, negative 1/4, and x cosine 2x. So distribute natin yung 1/2. 1/2 times 1/4 plus 1/8 sine 2x. Negative 1/4 x cosine 2x plus 1/8 sine 2x. Okay? Yun lang. Gumamit lang tayo ng identity. So if there are more than 2. Okay, so it's time to just continue on Friday. So more examples on Friday.